Hey, alright, so those that watch my channel know that I don't talk about Nirvana and Kurt very much just to get views. Um, but if a good question comes up, or I feel like I want to talk about something related to Nirvana, I will. So, there's a viewer, Tyler Bunch, asked a question. And I think it's a unique question, and I will happily answer it. And also, we'll make this a video, so if anybody else has any questions regarding Kurt and Nirvana, or you want to know how I feel about something, why don't you leave a question in the comments. Again, if it's something I've already talked about and went into detail, I don't think I'm going to do another video, because some stuff I have, I know you'd have to go back a couple years at this point to find the video of how I felt, but I still may do an update video or something. I don't know, because a lot of those videos that I did back then, sorry, I'll get back to the question here in just a second. A lot of those videos that I did Nirvana related were like, I just literally like decided that, okay, I'm just going to tell all these stories and not finish my book. And then of course I did finish my book because you guys helped inspire me to, and some friends in town. So anyway, that's why I told those stories like one after another, one after another. And there's a lot of stuff I can actually expand on in a way. So anyway, if you have any questions and you want anything, ask anything Nirvana related, I'm happy to talk about whatever. Okay, so Tyler Bunch sent a question which I thought was kind of interesting. And he sent a question on the video that I posted that's titled my favorite Nirvana songs, also story from Tempe, Arizona show. Okay, Tyler. Tyler says, is there a song from Nirvana's catalog that really made you think, that's so Kurt? No, not necessarily personal, more so from an honest perspective, I guess is what I'm trying to ask. Not so necessarily personal, more so from an honest perspective, I guess is what I'm trying to, okay, I think I read that correctly. Anyway, so I would definitely say this changed as I heard more recordings. I heard the very first recordings, other than the Fecal Matter. I did not hear the Fecal Matter tape that Kurt and Dale recorded back then. I'm just guessing that Kurt didn't really feel that great about that recording. Maybe when they first did it, it was like something that he shared with a few friends, but that would have been before I met Kurt, just a little bit. Or right, well, no, it would have been a little bit before. Anyway, so I would say that this question makes sense, but it changed as time went on. For me, there'd be certain songs, and I would have to say they were like more personally, because I didn't really, how I looked at things, I think it's different than like somebody today. Your question is pertaining to somebody. Okay, today, if I was to look at the whole catalog, Lithium comes to mind to answer that question. I would say, I mean, hands down, Lithium. But as time went on, that question actually makes sense, because there'd be certain songs that would really stand out. Like, for me, like, Spank Through and Arrow Zeppelin and Paper Cuts, for sure. Those three songs are the ones that initially I felt like Spank Through sounded like, to me, it sounded like it was it was somewhere in between like 70s rock and punk rock, and it was really interesting sounding. Interesting combination of lots of influences of stuff that I loved, because I loved heavy 70s rock. Not as much Led Zeppelin at that time. I was more into Sabbath and Deep Purple, Rainbow, Alice Cooper. But then, as time went on, there'd be more songs that would stick out to me. What's that song? So, like, when I heard the demo that Kurt gave me for Bleach, Big Long Now, and let's see, Big Long Now for sure. And I think Love Buzz really stuck out a lot. But I mean, I initially, thought that Big Long Now was going to be on Bleach. Um, let's see, what other songs on Bleach? Yeah, but again, it's like I felt I really didn't like the drum sound very much on Bleach. Um, there's something like the cymbal sound really bothered me. I mean, being like a drummer and being pretty picky with what I would use recording, when I heard the hi-hats on Bleach, it really kind of bothered me, and it kind of took away from the heaviness of the songs for me. Anyway, let's see. God, I'm trying to think. I want to call. Why do I want to call that swab meat? God damn it. All right. Never mind. We're moving on. You're catching me at 6 in the morning. So, but I like this question. It actually made me, you know, go back in the past a little bit and realize there's two answers. Like I said, there's lithium at this point in my life. I can go in a big picture, but when I got the demo from Kurt, that was the recording they did with Butch Vig, when they were on tour. So it would have been the one with Chad. Lithium. I mean, it was just like, all the songs on that recording were just absolutely phenomenal. Polly too. It was like, whoa, man. I mean, hearing Polly for the first time, it was like absolutely, I mean, so inspiring. I remember, like, my brother had an this acoustic Fender guitar, and I grabbed it and I just started playing acoustic guitar. I know that's the truth. I was playing electric guitar too, but it Polly inspired me more than any other acoustic. I mean, no other acoustic song that I heard like made me want to pick up a guitar. There was something about the simplicity and beauty of Polly that was so inspiring. And it may have been, well, see, that's the thing. It's like I want to go like, well, at the time, like, having a friend write something like that and would inspire me. But then again, it's like, as you look at reality today, it was Kurt's songwriting ability that's just like so inspiring. Anyway, influential too. Absolutely. Um, yeah, and let's see. And we go on by the time. Oh, sorry, Scoff. That's the song. Scoff. Okay. So Scoff is the song after Bleach comes out, the other song that really hit me. I mean, I was already familiar with um, uh, Downer, Floyd the Barber, Paper Cuts, Love Buzz. There's a lot of songs on Bleach I was already familiar with. So when Bleach came out, there was only a few songs that I'd never, well, that I had heard, but hadn't heard recordings of. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a great album. Don't get me wrong when I'm saying that the hi hat sound bothered me, because it did, but I love the album. I still listen to the album. I think I listen to Bleach more often than Nevermind. Um, but on Nevermind, when it came out, I would say again, like, there were songs I was already familiar with. So Smells Like Teen Spirit was a hugely just impacting when it came out. Hearing the recording for the first time, you know. Also, another song that I really think that should have been on Nevermind um, was yeah. Again, I'm caught in remembering the song titles, but um, oh, this is frustrating. Oh, hold on. All right, fuck this. I'm just gonna look it up so I don't. Aneurysm. All right. See, I remembered before I looked it up. Aneurysm. So Aneurysm, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Uh, and even in his youth, I think even in his youth and Aneurysm, I have no idea why they didn't put those on. I mean, those could have easily been on Nevermind, and you could have taken off a couple songs on Nevermind and made those an EP. I mean, there's a couple songs, like like yeah, I won't go into what songs on Nevermind, but again, also something in the way. It's just, again, this question is, I would still stick with, at this point in my life, looking at that and answering that question. Lithium is an obvious choice for me. Now we're going to move to In Utero. In Utero's it's a tough one, because I think the album's really good, but there's no songs on the album that impacted me the way songs did earlier on. But there's tons of great songs. Heart Shaped Box, of course. What's the again? I'm trying to remember. The mellower one on In Utero. So that song for sure. Let's see. Very Ape got me. Yeah. So there's a lot of I forgot, all In Utero rocks, but it didn't really have the impact from hearing it the first time that the earlier stuff did. And I think that's probably along I mean, for many people probably feel that way. But I don't know. I mean, today some people may say they're way more inspired by In Utero than the early stuff, so who knows. then we will go to the MTV set, because I think that was very influential, as being like, they were just doing an acoustic performance, and Kurt had no idea. I don't think he had any idea that it was going to take off like it did, but it really did. I mean, there's so many songs on there that, it introduced you to other bands, other recordings. Like, I knew about old Bowie, but I didn't know about that song and that album. You know, The Man Who Sold the World. That album is killer. Uh, and of course the Lead Belly. When it comes down to it, that Lead Belly song was probably the most. That and The Man Who Sold the World were like so impacting and inspiring that, you hear either of those recordings today, you know those two recordings right there are mind blowing. They really are. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. This has been a long video, but thanks for the question. And yeah, so if you have any questions, or Nirvana related, and it's something that I want to do a video on, I'm happy to. There's some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I'm not going to get into it because it's a little bit emotionally negative, regarding somebody doing a channel related to Nirvana and Kurt's death, and we'll just say he goes by American Spy Fox, and I would say be very careful when you listen to him. Anyway, okay, take care, bye.